Welcome in, everyone. Today we're going to do a deep dive into the story of Nissa Revane.
Yeah, Nissa Revane.
You know her
It's
as a powerful mage,
it's gonna be fun.
fierce protector of Zendikar, and a key member of the Gatewatch. But
Yeah,
her journey is so much more than that.
it is.
It's a tale of evolving connections,
Yeah.
changing perspectives, and the complexities of heroism.
Well, it's interesting about Nissa is how she goes from the sort of typical elf planeswalker to someone grappling with these questions that resonate on like a universal level, you know?
Yeah.
How do you balance loyalty to your home with the needs of like the wider multiverse?
Yeah.
What happens when protecting one world might mean sacrificing another? These are the dilemmas that Nissa faces, and they kind of force us to like confront some tough questions ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's start with her roots. Nissa begins as a Uraga elf on Zendikar,
Yeah,
deeply connected to nature, even as a child.
right.
But it sounds like her childhood wasn't exactly idyllic.
Yeah. Right. Initially, she's portrayed as having a fairly standard planeswalker awakening,
Uh-huh.
but later her origin story gets a revamp, and that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Instead of a straightforward realization of her powers,
Yeah.
young Nissa is tormented by these incredibly vivid, almost disturbing dreams.
Yes.
She is one of the last animists,
Okay.
these shamans who can literally communicate with the land.
Wow.
This connection to Zendikar is more profound than anything we've seen before.
Wait, she can talk to Zendikar,
Exactly.
like the actual plane itself.
Imagine feeling the planet's pain.
Wow.
It's fear as acutely as your own emotions.
Oh, wow.
That's Nissa's reality.
That's intense.
She learns that Zendikar is hurting because of the Eldrazi titans imprisoned within it.
Okay, so her connection to nature is almost like a sixth sense warning her of danger.
Right.
But how does that lead to her becoming a planeswalker?
It's the Eldrazi themselves that trigger her spark. The sheer horror of confronting these monstrous beings for the first time ignites her latent planeswalker abilities, and she's suddenly whisked away to another plane entirely. Talk about a trial by fire.
Oh, yeah. It's like being thrown into the deep end of a cosmic pool.
Yeah.
No wonder she becomes so fiercely protective of Zendikar.
Right.
And that leads us to her becoming the World Waker.
Yes. This title isn't just a cool nickname.
Right.
It signifies Nissa's transformation from a tribal elf into a protector of Zendikar on a grand scale.
Okay.
And her bond with the elemental Ashaya is a crucial part of that.
Ashaya, that iconic elemental companion.
Yeah.
Their relationship is more than just a planeswalker summoning an elemental.
Right? It's way deeper than that.
Okay.
Ashaya isn't just a summoned creature. It's
Yeah.
a manifestation of Zendikar's soul specifically bound to Nissa.
Okay.
Imagine the planet's life force.
Yeah.
Its very essence embodied in this powerful elemental,
Yeah.
constantly connected to her.
Wow.
This bond changes how Nissa interacts with Zendikar. It's not just about protecting the land.
Okay.
It's about feeling its pain,
Oh, wow.
understanding its needs on a fundamental level.
That's wild.
Yeah,
It's like having a direct line to the planet's heartbeat.
it is.
And all this power and responsibility can't be easy to carry. I remember reading about a vampire
Oh, yeah.
who gives Nissa seeds of Zendikar's most important plants, including the extinct bloodbriar.
Oh, yeah.
That's such a powerful moment.
Think about it.
Yeah.
A vampire, typically associated with death and decay,
Right.
entrusting Nissa with the seeds of life.
Right.
It speaks volumes about the gravity of the Eldrazi threat and the faith placed in Nissa.
Yeah.
She's no longer just fighting for her people.
Right.
She's carrying the legacy of an entire plane on her shoulders. That's a heavy burden for anyone, let alone someone so young.
It's a turning point for her, moving from a personal, almost tribal sense of responsibility to something much larger.
Right.
She's carrying the hopes of an entire world.
Exactly. And this sets the stage for her future struggles. Because what happens when the needs of Zendikar clash with the needs of other worlds?
Yeah.
That's a question Nissa will grapple with throughout her journey.
And that's a question we'll explore further in part 2.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, because things are about to get epic.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. Last time we left off with Nissa carrying the weight of Zendikar's legacy, ready to face the Eldrazi threat.
Yeah.
This brings her to the battle for Zendikar,
Yeah.
a turning point, not just for her, but for the entire multiverse.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is where Nissa truly embodies the title of World Waker,
Okay.
wielding the power of Zendikar in ways that are both awe-inspiring and a little terrifying.
I can imagine. And during this battle, she meets some other major players for the first time.
Yeah.
Gideon, Jace, even Chandra Nala.
Right.
What's it like for Nissa, who's always been so focused on Zendikar, to suddenly be working with this group of powerful planeswalkers?
It's definitely a challenge for her. Remember, Nissa's primary loyalty is to Zendikar. But the Eldrazi threat is so vast, so all-consuming, that she starts to see how interconnected the multiverse really is.
Yeah.
She realizes that to save her home, she might need to work with others, even those whose methods she doesn't fully understand or agree with.
So there's this tension between her deep-seated loyalty to Zendikar and the need for collaboration on a multiversal scale.
Right.
It must be a difficult balance to strike.
Exactly. And this tension will continue to play out throughout her story.
Okay.
It's one of the things that makes Nissa such a compelling character.
Yeah.
She's constantly wrestling with these difficult choices, trying to figure out what it truly means to be a protector.
Speaking of protectors,
Uh,
how do they even begin to fight something as colossal and powerful as the Eldrazi Titans?
right.
We were talking about beings that can literally devour entire worlds.
Jace, with his vast knowledge of magic and Zendikar's history, comes up with a plan to trap the Titans using the plane's ley lines.
Okay.
These powerful flows of mana that crisscross Zendikar. And here's where Nissa's unique abilities as the World Waker really shine.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Mm.
Tell me more about these ley lines and how Nissa uses them.
Imagine them as the veins and arteries of Zendikar,
Okay.
pulsing with raw elemental energy.
Mm-hmm.
Nissa can tap into that energy channel. It even weaponize it.
Whoa.
She essentially becomes a conduit focusing the plane's life force against the Eldrazi.
Wow.
It's a breathtaking display of power and a testament to her deep connection with Zendikar.
So she's not just fighting the Eldrazi, she's channeling the power of an entire world against them.
Exactly, and it's not without its risks. Think about the strain that must put on her both physically and emotionally.
Yeah.
It's like running a marathon while carrying the weight of a mountain on your shoulders.
And remember that demon Ob-Nixilis, the one Nissa defeated to protect the colony heart?
Oh, he rears his ugly head during this battle, hungry for revenge and determined to steal Zendikar's power for himself.
So he's more than just a vengeful demon. He's a threat to the entire plane,
Mhm.
potentially even the multiverse.
You got it. He interferes with Jace's plan, disrupting the ley lines and freeing Ulamog, one of the Eldrazi Titans.
Oh, no.
And just to make things more interesting, he accidentally attracts Kozilek, another Titan, to the surface. Talk about bad timing.
This sounds disastrous. 2 Eldrazi Titans on the loose.
Oh.
A power-hungry demon wreaking havoc. How do they possibly get out of this mess?
It's a desperate fight for survival.
Yeah.
Nixilis, fueled by stolen power, becomes a major threat. He captures Nissa, Jace, and Gideon, torturing them to try and break their spirits.
Oh, wow.
It's a dark moment for our heroes.
Things are looking pretty grim. It sounds like they need a miracle.
And that miracle comes in the form of Chandra Nalar.
Okay.
She arrives just in the nick of time, unleashing her fiery fury and forcing Nixilis to retreat.
Wow.
It's a stunning display of power, and it changes everything.
It's like a classic superhero team-up moment. The cavalry arrives just when all hope seems lost.
Exactly, and it's this shared experience of facing impossible odds and coming out on top that ultimately leads to the formation of the Gatewatch.
So they realize that to combat threats of this magnitude, they need to join forces. It makes sense. But we know that Nissa's journey with the Gatewatch isn't always smooth sailing.
You're right, there are bumps along the road. Disagreements, betrayals, even moments where Nissa questions whether the Gatewatch is truly the best way to protect Zendikar.
And it all starts with their trip to Innistrad, right?
Mm-hmm.
A plane steeped in horror and madness.
Mm-hmm.
What challenges does Nissa face there?
Innistrad is a completely different beast from Zendikar. The plane's mana is corrupted by Emrakul, another Eldrazi Titan,
Okay.
and it's a place where logic and reason often take a back seat to fear and paranoia.
Oh, wow.
Nissa struggles to connect with the plane's essence. The ley lines are twisted, corrupted, almost alien to her.
So her powers don't work the same way on Innistrad.
Exactly. Her connection to Zendikar, which has always been her greatest strength, becomes a liability in this environment.
Right.
She's forced to rely on others to trust in methods that feel unnatural and unsettling to her.
That must be incredibly frustrating for her, like trying to speak the language you don't understand. And I remember the Gatewatch has to team up with Liliana Vess, a powerful necromancer, to deal with Emrakul.
Right.
How does Nissa, who values life and harmony with nature, react to that?
She's deeply uneasy about it. Necromancy is anathema to everything she believes in, but she also recognizes the gravity of the threat.
Yeah.
Emrakul's presence is warping Innistrad, twisting it into something monstrous.
So it's another one of those tough choices. Does she compromise her principles to fight a greater evil?
Exactly, and these compromises start to weigh on her.
Okay.
She sees the Gatewatch making decisions that, while perhaps necessary, feel morally ambiguous.
It sounds like the seeds of doubt are starting to take root.
Right.
She's questioning the Gatewatch's methods, maybe even her own place within the group.
You're picking up on something important here. Nissa's not just fighting monsters, she's fighting an internal battle as well, a struggle to reconcile her values with the harsh realities of the multiverse.
And this struggle comes to a head on a Amonkhet, right? A plane ruled by Nicol Bolas, the ultimate villain of magic lore.
You could say that Amonkhet is where Nissa's disillusionment with the Gatewatch truly begins to surface.
Okay.
The plane is under Bolas's complete control. He's manipulated its culture, its history, even its gods, turning it into a twisted training ground for his army.
Right.
Nissa senses the corruption, the deep-seated sickness in Amonkhet's soul.
It's a world built on lies and manipulation, and Nissa's connection to nature must make her acutely aware of that.
Exactly, and what truly disturbs her is the Gatewatch's approach.
Okay.
They're so focused on uncovering Bolas's plans, confronting him directly, that they seem to lose sight of the people of Amonkhet, the ones who are suffering under his tyranny.
Right.
Nissa feels that they should be doing more to help those who are trapped in this manipulative system.
So it's another clash of ideologies.
Yeah.
The Gatewatch is taking a more strategic, almost militaristic approach, while Nissa is driven by compassion and a desire to protect the innocent.
Exactly, and this clash highlights a fundamental tension within the Gatewatch. Are they soldiers fighting a war, or are they protectors of the innocent? It's a question that will continue to haunt Nissa as she moves forward.
And unfortunately, things don't go well on Amonkhet.
No, they don't. Bolas plays them all like pawns on a chessboard, easily defeating the Gatewatch and shattering their unity.
Oh, wow.
Nissa is devastated both by the loss and by the feeling that she's betrayed her own principles.
So this is a breaking point for her.
Yeah.
She's lost faith in the Gatewatch, she's questioning her own methods, and she's probably feeling incredibly isolated. Where does she go from here?
That's what we'll explore in our next segment. Stay tuned as we delve into Nissa's return to Zendikar, her confrontation with Nahiri, and the ultimate test of her loyalty.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Nissa Revane's story.
Nissa Revane.
We left off with her feeling disillusioned and lost
Oh, yeah.
after the disastrous events on Amonkhet.
Right.
It's a turning point,
It is.
a moment of reckoning that forces her to reevaluate everything.
You're right. The Amonkhet debacle really shakes her to her core.
Yeah.
She's questioning the Gatewatch's purpose, their methods, and even her own role in the multiverse.
Yeah.
This introspection leads her to a difficult but ultimately inevitable decision. She leaves the Gatewatch.
It's a heartbreaking moment for fans who'd come to see her as such an integral part of the team.
Yeah.
What specifically drives her to this point? Is it simply about her disagreement with their approach, or is there something more?
It's a combination of factors, really.
Okay.
The trauma of Innistrad, the moral compromises on Amonkhet, the growing feeling that the Gatewatch often prioritizes brute force over understanding and empathy.
Yeah.
But at its heart, it's about Nissa's unwavering love for Zendikar.
Okay.
She feels a pull, a deep-seated need to return to her home plane and focus on healing and protecting it.
So she's choosing to prioritize her home over the needs of the multiverse.
Right.
It's a decision that many can relate to, that sense of responsibility to your roots. But Zendikar is rarely a peaceful place, is it?
You're telling me she returns to find Zendikar facing yet another threat.
Oh, no.
Nahiri, the Lithomancer who helped imprison the Eldrazi millennia ago?
Oh, wow. Nahiri. She's a powerful force of nature, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
And she has a very complicated history with Zendikar. What's the conflict between them about?
At the core, it's a difference in philosophy about how to protect Zendikar.
Okay.
Nahiri, scarred by the Eldrazi's devastation,
Right.
wants to eliminate the royal, that volatile, unpredictable energy that courses through the plane.
Yeah.
She sees it as a source of danger, a constant threat that needs to be controlled.
That sounds like a pretty drastic solution.
Yeah.
I mean, the royal is part of what makes Zendikar unique, right?
Right.
Its wild, untamed energy is part of his essence.
Exactly, and that's Nissa's perspective.
Okay.
She understands that the royal, while dangerous, is also an integral part of Zendikar's life force.
Right.
It's the source of its vitality, its resilience, its ability to regenerate even after facing unimaginable destruction.
Yeah.
To eliminate it would be to fundamentally change the plane, to rob it of its very essence.
So it's a conflict between control and acceptance, between reshaping the world according to one's will versus embracing its natural state, even with its imperfections and dangers.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Okay.
And this conflict intensifies with the discovery of the lithoform core,
Okay.
an ancient artifact containing a powerful fragment of Zendikar's soul.
An artifact that could potentially reshape the entire plane that sounds incredibly dangerous. Who controls it?
Initially, Nahiri has control of the core.
Yeah.
She intends to use it to impose her vision of order on Zendikar, even if it means sacrificing its wildness and unpredictable nature.
Right.
Nissa, with the help of Jace,
Right.
eventually takes possession of the core,
Okay.
leading to a dramatic confrontation between the two powerful planeswalkers.
This must be a battle for the ages, what happens during this clash.
It's a clash of ideologies as much as it is a clash of magical power.
Right.
Nissa unleashes the full force of her connection to Zendikar, summoning elementals and wielding the core's energy with a fierce determination to protect her home. The battle reshapes the landscape, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake.
Wow. So who wins? Does Nissa manage to stop Nahiri from using the core to reshape Zendikar according to her will?
In a way, both of them lose and win.
Okay.
The core's power is unleashed, but not in the way Nahiri intended. Instead of eliminating the royal, it heals the damage inflicted by the Eldrazi,
Oh, wow.
restoring Zendikar to a state of even greater vitality and power.
That's quite a twist. So Nissa succeeds in protecting Zendikar, but it's not a simple victory.
Right.
There are unintended consequences, a reshaping of the plane that might not align perfectly with her own vision.
Exactly. It highlights the complex relationship between intention and outcome, especially when dealing with forces as powerful as the lithoform core.
Yeah.
And it also reinforces a recurring theme in Nissa's story.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that control is often an illusion. Nature in all its wild and untamed glory will always find a way to assert itself.
And then comes the Phyrexian invasion, a threat that eclipses anything the multiverse has seen before. Where's Nissa during this cataclysmic event?
Initially, she chooses to remain on Zendikar, focusing on safeguarding her revitalized home.
Right.
But the Phyrexians, with their relentless pursuit of perfection and their horrific methods of completion, represent a threat that can't be ignored.
Yeah.
She eventually rejoins the Gatewatch, though her heart is heavy with the weight of past betrayals and the knowledge that this fight might demand the ultimate sacrifice.
And that leads us to one of the most shocking and heartbreaking moments in Nissa's story, her completion.
It's a devastating turn of events for someone so deeply connected to nature.
Yeah.
During the invasion of New Phyrexia, she's captured and subjected to their horrific process of transformation.
Right.
Imagine the horror of feeling your body, your very essence, being corrupted and twisted into something alien and monstrous.
It must be a living nightmare, a betrayal of everything she stands for. What role does she play as a Phyrexian?
It's crazy, really.
Yeah.
She's forced to use her powers, her connection to Zendikar, for evil.
Oh, wow.
Lesh Norn, the leader of the Phyrexians, uses Nissa to control Realmbreaker, a colossal structure capable of invading other worlds.
Right.
It's a cruel twist of fate, forcing her to participate in the very destruction she swore to fight against.
It sounds like the ultimate test of her spirit, to be stripped of her agency, to be used as a weapon against the very things she loves.
Right.
But there's a glimmer of hope, right?
Good.
She's eventually rescued and uncompleted.
Yes, thanks to the efforts of her former comrades, particularly Chandra, who never gives up on her.
Okay.
But the experience leaves deep scars, both physically and emotionally.
Right.
Imagine the trauma of being violated on such a fundamental level, of having your very identity ripped away and then pieced back together.
Yeah.
It's a wound that might never fully heal.
And then coming the final blow, the loss of her spark.
It's a consequence of the multiverse's efforts to sever the Phyrexians' connection to other worlds.
Right.
It's a desperate measure, but a necessary one.
Right.
And while it frees Nissa from Phyrexian control, it also robs her of her planeswalker abilities.
So what happens to Nissa now? Without her spark, without the ability to planeswalk, is this the end of her story?
That's the fascinating question, isn't it? The loss of her spark is a devastating blow.
Yeah.
But it also presents an opportunity for a new beginning. She's no longer a planeswalker,
Right.
but her connection to Zendikar remains stronger than ever.
Okay.
She chooses to stay on her home plane, exploring its newly revitalized landscape and seeking a new path, a new way to protect the things she loves.
It's a bittersweet ending, but also one filled with possibility without her spark.
Right.
How will her connection to nature evolve?
Right.
Will she find new ways to protect Zendikar? Maybe even the multiverse, despite her limitations?
These are questions for you to ponder, dear listener.
Yeah.
Nissa Ravane's journey is a testament to the enduring power of nature, the complexities of heroism, and the importance of fighting for what you believe in, even when all hope seems lost.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Nissa Revane. We encourage you to continue exploring her story and the rich tapestry of magic.